Wouldn't it be nice if we could solve all our problems and not have them pop up again? If you're a leader or a manager that has a lot of problems that you need to solve, you know that sometimes what happens is these problems are hard for us to diagnose, hard for us to understand where they're coming from, and finally, it's very hard for us to stop it from happening again. So I face this problem quite a bit as well in the organizations that I'm a part of, whether this is my volunteer organizations or my company, my workplace, or whether it's in the projects that I try to do and the startups that I've tried to start as well. Sometimes what happens is we only see the surface of a problem and we don't really understand where this problem is coming from. So I've been recently reading this book called The Decision Maker's Playbook. And one of the things that it asks us to do is to understand that everything is part of a system. Now, I'm actually very excited to try this out myself. So the idea is that to ensure that our problems are solved once and for all and we don't have difficulties in problems recurring over and over again, what we need to do is realize that everything in our businesses, in our organizations, and in our daily lives are connected. Now, what does that mean? Now, it means that everything is part of one big system, right? C or D doesn't stand by itself. Instead, it's dependent on A, B, C, then D. So it's part of a chain, basically. It's part of an ecosystem, and understanding that is basically systems thinking. The idea that you can fix something in a different part of an organization or a system or a business and have those ripple effects reach to where your surface problem actually is. So how do we implement systems thinking in our lives? Well, there's something called the 5 whys analysis. Now, if you're interested in knowing what the 5 whys analysis is, it's a very simple technique. All we have to do is, when there's a problem in our lives, whether it's in our organizations or in our companies, what we need to do is ask why 5 times. So, for example, I'm running a company that packages and delivers chocolate to people. And the problem that we've identified is that the packages actually arrive to our customers in a spoiled fashion. They're not pristine as we thought that they would be, and customers have been complaining that their packages are basically coming to their door in a fashion that either it's open in some areas or it's battered in other areas. And what we need to do is ask why 5 times. So, for example, why are the parcels arriving at the doors of our customers in a bad fashion? So what happened was the delivery driver rushed in his delivery and that caused mishandling of the goods. So why did the driver rush in his delivery? We identify the problem and we find out that in fact it was because the routes that he is taking are actually routes that aren't optimized. Now, why are the routes not optimized? Well, we don't have a system in order to tell our delivery drivers where to go. We just give them a set of points, right? So why do we just give them a set of points instead of a delivery route? Right? So this is only the 3rd why, but we can see that there are already actionable steps that we can take in order to avoid this problem happening again. Even at the 3rd why, we understand that if we just implemented a route finding system, right, where we can put in all our different points onto the map and have a route automatically calculated for us for the driver, it would decrease or remove this problem entirely. Drivers wouldn't need to rush because they would know exactly where they're going, right? And in the most efficient manner, right? And we can calculate that and ensure that they can get to their destination in the best time. Now, what happens is by realizing that everything is connected and asking 5 whys before we start answering the question, that we realize that every single problem has a root cause that happens somewhere else in our system. If we fail to do this, what happens is people typically just start at the root issue and go, say, 1 deep. For example, someone who doesn't understand the system's thinking might go ahead and decide instead to fire the delivery driver. Instead, what we could have done is we could have made a better system for him to deliver in a more efficient manner instead of having to resort to firing someone. As a summary, systems thinking is the understanding that everything is interrelated and that we can solve problems somewhere else in our systems from fixing it at the root cause instead of just at the surface level. Thank you for listening.